Greetings nerdy list aficionados and welcome back to Top 10 Nerd. So you're still enjoying hearing about heroes meeting each other. We've got some tales for you today. We've got time travel, lots of time travel actually, and some universes collapsing, just imploding in on themselves. I'm Sasha and these are the top 10 superheroes who have met their alternate versions part 3. We're gonna keep going until, well, we can't. Number 10, She-Hulk vs. She-Hulk, the meta trial. Starting off with a bit of a reach to get warmed up, we have Jennifer Walters facing off against the different versions of herself, but most notably, the more traditionally beautiful or pinup She-Hulk, and her angry like She-Hulk, the Hulk one, who people call the ugly Hulk, but real talk, she's just buff and Hulk-like. Even this version is still drawn as relatively traditionally attractive, but I digress. This whole issue is a trial about the right to be ugly, and depending upon how you feel about representation in comics and escapism versus representation, the balance between, you could have had many reactions to this issue. And contrary to what you've probably heard, that doesn't make you a good or bad person or a better or worse fan. It makes you a person with an opinion, just like everybody else. In my opinion, it's an interesting discussion to have, and a topic that in the past has even been handled with humor, such as with the Hawkeye initiative, where sexy covers were redrawn with sexy Hawkeye. But it is also an argument that is often made in an isolated bubble, separate from other context, or with a focus on the real world and not the fictional canonical one. Which is how you can then have Jen calling Bruce Banner, her cousin the Hulk, out for daring to be jealous of her. It was an interesting issue, it got people talking. I definitely won't forget it anytime soon. Number 9, Batman and Owlman. Whenever people talk about this, you're most likely going to see a versus in the title. Let them fight is the name of the game when it comes to Bruce Wayne and Thomas Wayne Jr. There have been multiple depictions of Owlman thanks to DC's many universe shifts, and most of them have met Bruce Wayne. The New 52 version was heavily involved in the Court of Owls, and was from the Prime Earth, so he doesn't count. We need our crime syndicate buddy from Earth 3, otherwise known as the Reverse Earth back in the day. Batman has had to fight Owlman on more than one occasion, but always seems to find it a little disturbing. That cold methodology, so calculatingly applied to crime instead of heroism. It's enough to make you think. Or it would be if they didn't do an Elseworld story about it every other week. To which I say, keep them coming. Number 8, Tim Drake and Xavier. Yes, some love for the third Robin, Tim Drake, who now has middle child syndrome over at DC, and is as a result often forgotten. Well, he has an alternate future version who became Batman for a time, even though Tim had vowed that that was something he would never do. There's a whole alternate timeline here with Bruce dying, killed by Batwoman for reactivating Brother Eye, his super paranoid AI network cause, you know, his friends mind wiped him, cause he didn't want to mind wipe someone else, even if they were a villain. The older Tim and young Tim would meet, which would cause old gun-wielding Tim to realize that time could be changed, which paradoxically ended up with him attacking Tim and not working with him. His quest through time would eventually see him turn into Savior. He had a cool arc during the Super Sons, which was just a good comic in general. Wholesome fun. Even Savior. Number 7, Thor vs. Eric Masterson. Eric Masterson was Thor for a bit. Let me explain. So Eric Masterson met Thor while Eric was working as an architect, and through some shenanigans ended up accompanying Thor over to the Black Galaxy, where he was mortally wounded by Mongoose. So he was given Thor's form, so they merged, then split, then re-merged. Then Thor was banished and Eric was transformed into Thor. Eric's demise was quite dramatic. It occurred after he was going by Thunderstrike, and well, he had to give into a curse from his blood axe to defeat Seth, but then he was on the warpath, so Thor eventually had to stop him. Fun fact, Eric was Thor during the Infinity Gauntlet stuff. He was bearded Thor. Eric was alright. I mean, no Thor other than Thor is real Thor. I mean, it is his name, but if my name somehow became a title, heck yeah, I'd want to be the coolest person using it. My name will not be a title. Number 6, Thor Core. More Thorin at number 6 with a whole core. So during Secret Wars, while Doom was God Emperor, he decided that the best course of action was to set up a group made up of high-powered individuals from across Battleworld. This was as a kind of police force. So to become a member of the Thor Corps, you had to be able to wield Mjolnir, and you had to look good in a helmet. Just kidding, it's just the hammer thing. So they served Doom without question, and you have all these different versions of Thor on one team, hanging out, chilling, maxing, relaxing, all cool. The Thor Corps would end up joining the rebellion against Doom later on, and probably were destroyed when the big climax happened with Reed and the Molecule Man. Number 5, Old Man Deadpool and Young Pool. or regular pool. Halfway through with the Deadpool and Spidey team-up comic, and the arc from the second half of the book after veteran Deadpool writer Joe Kelly, who had penned the first arc, left. So this second arc involved time travel and an old version of Deadpool and Spider-Man being transported to the past, all because of an AI built by Peter's parents, who get more and more busy by the retcon, I tell you. Older Spidey and Deadpool were good friends, a fact that brought younger Deadpool much joy, even if he was jealous that his future self knew Peter's secret identity, which he would later learn sorta. The book got cancelled at issue 50, which is like a decent number for a team up in the modern era, but it just meted out hard, with them arresting the writer, him seeing Peter's face but it was blank. Yeah. Number 4. Future Flash and Blue Flash. Ah, Barry. So many time-traveling Flash stories, including Barry. This of course led to him meeting his future self, the Future Flash, or Blue Flash, which was a look. So Future Flash was from 20 years in the future where Wally had been killed by a bunch of rogues. So Barry, driven mad by guilt, has dedicated himself to building up enough speed so that he can go back in time and stop this from happening. Cause that's who Barry is post-Flashpoint. Timelines there for mere mortals. Barry will change them as he so pleases. So Barry is convinced his more depressing future can only be averted by saving Wally, and this leads him to murdering his rogues in an attempt to gain more speed. He would end up traveling back, doing battle with present Barry, who had a more sober way of looking at the timeline. So Future Flash ended up being stuck in the past, like the Reverse Flash. Time travel doesn't work out well for these Flashes. That's what you get when you get off the treadmill. Number 3. Young X-Men meet the old X-Men. This was an entire arc, the classic original X-Men team being pulled forward in time to meet the hot mess that was their present selves. Their book was confusingly called All New X-Men, so timeline. Cyclops has escaped from prison and is on his way to becoming what fans would call Mutant Hitler. The other X-Men can't move against him, and Iceman is all, oh man, past Scott would never, which Beast takes as challenge accepted, and goes back in time to get the young X-Men by being like, hey, so your older selves either not the best or out to lunch, come help, please. The young X-Men would end up staying in the present timeline for quite a while until people demanded that they be sent back. It was confusing and convoluted, especially for those who weren't following closely. Most of the young X-Men who met their present versions weren't impressed, especially Cyclops. He was flat out disgusted by what had become of Scott, killing Professor X and all that. Shame. Number 2. Harley Quinn and other Harleys. We talked last time about the idea of multiple Harley Quinns, and this has been played with more than once in the main DC universe. I almost said metaverse, but I won't let Doomsday Clock correct me like that. In the New 52, Harley was believed to have met alternate versions of Harleys, when Joker showed her a mass grave of women all wearing her costume in a dungeon. People like to cite the New 52 as a kind of barometer, to be like, look at how bad their relationship is. Okay, look, the New 52 should not be used as a barometer for anything. Remember jeans and t-shirt Clark Kent Superman? Also, Harley killed a whole block full of kids in that universe. Harley has also met copycats who want to be the crazed girlfriend of the Joker, women inspired by her. She is pretty much never impressed. I mean, why have a copy when you can have the original? Number 1. Superman and New 52 Superman. Of all the changes to characters made in the New 52, Superman's was one of the most jarring. He started off quite different, harsher, more distant, wearing jeans, and it was one of the more consistent complaints you would hear from most people that Superman didn't feel like Superman, and that bled into all the other things that happened, even his relationship with Wonder Woman, though some liked it, although she was a bit OC too. Eventually, New 52 Superman was phased out. In the storyline, The Final Days of Superman, we were given back OG Superman with a beard, and he was married to Lois and had a son. The two would go on an actually really heartfelt journey together that would really give credit to both Superman and what they stood for. New 52 Superman also had to fight a Superman imposter. This was a really good finale for New 52 Superman. He would die heroically and dramatically with all his friends there to see him off. He would then later be replaced with Prime Superman, OG Superman, who would proceed to just kind of take over his life and pick up where he left off with his friends. That part was kind of awkward. It's just like how we don't think about how non-Hydra Cap is actually Cap from a separate timeline from the main verse. We let these things fade. So those were 10 more superheroes who have met their alternate versions. How many of these did you know? And do you want more? I will dive deep into the barrel for you. I'm Sasha, and thanks so much for watching Top 10 Nerd. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and hit that bell notification so that you never miss a vid. We'll see you again soon. Bye bye.